Sorry, folks. Gotta have a jam session really quickly before we get started. Alright. Thank you all for indulging me. This fun times are stopping now. This is very serious. Custom card content time. Hello, everyone. GoldenNova here. Thank you all for joining me on a fantastic Saturday. We have a lot on our plate. I've already wasted 80% of our time by having a jam session here. So here's how the day is going to go. I've got 4 people who need to present today. I've got 4 people showing off their custom card creations. We gotta wrap this up in like 90 minutes because once we're done here, we're raiding Hasher because I'm joining in on his 3v3 Edison Relay Tournament. It's really, really cool. If you are familiar with 5D's, the Friendship Cup arc, where there was the literal relay race tournament, we are recreating that with the Edison format. I am on redacted. You're gonna have to tune in to find out, but trust me, I'm bringing the sauce. I'm teaming up with Junk. I'm teaming up with Grey Graves. We're the mystery crew, representing the great mysteries of the dueling world, taking their energy and power and using it to conquer a low-stakes tournament on a Saturday afternoon. It's going to be the most hype stuff ever. Probably even more hype than the Animation Chronicle. Who knows? Who knows? And maybe, and also Acetone's gonna be there. Who knows? Maybe. We'll see. I'm all in. If they do the Albaz anime, oh my god, like they picked so many good themes to do Animation Chronicle stuff for. Like, holy cow. But it better be the Albaz one. That could be your reason not to watch. Absolutely not. How are you going to get your daily dose of Alien without acetone? I know I need it. Sulfur Cord enjoyers we want. That was such, the Sulfur Cord animation was so cute. Ah, it was so good. Hello everyone. Okay. Thank you for your patience. I'm gonna get back to the server. I'm gonna do my my duly appointed job as GoldenNova, fulfilling my responsibility to all my patrons. Let's get started. We're back in guest comms, and we are going to be welcoming Rebel King Lucifer. Once they are here, Rebel King Lucifer. Let's go ahead and hide this. There we go. All right, Legacy of Destruction. This was billed as early leaks for the latest OCG. No! Get that every time, every month. How you doing? How you doing today?
I'm doing just fine.
Alrighty, it looks like we've got ourselves some more Vanguard stuff.
Oh, we sure do. Oh boy, as I promised last month, we have the other generico set of support for the ride mechanic. And yeah, this one's something.
All right, well, I can't wait to see how much of a something that is. Let me go and get this clock started, and it looks like we're starting with Clock Hands Draco Kid.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
These are not very well ordered, but yeah.
All good. I've got the list right here off screen, so we'll go ahead and get started with our level 4 Dark Machine Monster, 1300 attack, 1100 defense, Clock Hands Draco Kid. When a card or effect is activated that targets Purgatory Dragon Deity Favniel, and or a monster that mentions it as a quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If this card is sent to the graveyard from anywhere other than the deck, you can activate one of these effects. You can either target a dark monster in your graveyard that mentions Favniel, except Clockhands Draco, and stack it underneath one dark ride monster you control, or special summon a dark monster from your hand or graveyard, except Clockhands Draco Kid. You can only use this effect once per turn. Alright, so we haven't seen this particular ride monster, but for those of you who have not seen Rebel King's previous creations that emulates the Vanguard mechanic of Ride. You can think of it as analogous to Xyz summoning, except specifically Chaos Xyz evolution. You're just stacking monsters on top of a single one in a progressive order. This one will put cards into their soul, which usually helps enhance their effect. Was that a good kind of summary of that? Am I missing anything?
Yeah, no, that'll do it.
All right.
That sums it up.
All right, cool. Last thing I want to do is be out here misrepresenting Vanguard. I respect them. The last thing I want to do is draw their ire. All right, next
Yeah.
is... Okay, is this supposed to be Divigating Chopper?
I believe it is divigating, yeah.
Divigating Chopper. Okay. I thought there it is. Divigating Chopper. See, is that formatted correctly on the screen? I have my viewfinder very tiny. There we go. All right. Divigating Chopper, level 5, Dark Fiend Ride effect monster, 2000 attack, 1500 defense. You can special summon this card from your hand or deck at the start of your standby phase by stacking it on top of any one level 4 or lower dark monster you control. Once, while stacked underneath a Ride monster, you can target a dark monster in your graveyard and stack it underneath a dark Ride monster you control. If a dark monster is stacked on top of this card, you can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you do, stack one excavated dark monster underneath a dark Ride monster you control. Also shuffle the rest into the deck. Okay. So this sounds like our stage 2, which can be used with any dark monster, so great splashability there. And at every stage, it's just getting more stuff underneath it. There's a very big focus, it seems so far, on just filling up our soul / underneath Ride card stuff.
Yeah, so there's very much a pattern going on here.
Yeah.
And that'll pay off. That'll pay off when we get to Favernil, trust me.
Alrighty. Next up is Gear Rhinos of Straightforward. What a name. Vanguard has the coolest names. It's outrageous.
They do have the names of all time.
The name... Like, it'll go from things like Gear Rhyhos of Straightforward, and it'll have some, like, flavor text that says, a great beast created by ancient armorers to fight against the divine. And then you'll have Greg the Setback. He's an office worker. It's so good.
You know.
All right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know, he's just Greg. He's just Greg.
Yeah.
All right, Gear Rhyhos of Straightforward. Level 6 Dark Machine Ride Monster, 2400 attack, 1000 defense. Ooh, Monarch stats. You can special summon this card from your hand or deck at the start of your standby phase by stacking it on top of a dark Ride monster you control with one or less cards stacked underneath it. Once, while stacked underneath a Ride monster, you can target one dark monster in your graveyard or your banishment, stack it underneath a dark Ride monster you control, then you can destroy one monster your opponent controls whose level or rank is greater than or equal to that dark monster's. During either player's standby phase, you can special summon dark Ride monsters from your hand or deck using their own procedure. Oh, so that makes it quicker.
Yes, yeah. So as a refresher, this was also on the light like stage 2 of the Ride line from last time, where the idea is now you can do it during like either standby phase.
Got
So,
it.
yeah,
Got
make
it.
it easier. Yeah.
Okay, so we get our dark monster. We waited turns. Standby phase, we get Divigating Chopper. That's stacked on there. And then that doesn't do anything by itself. But then once it gets ridden on at the Gear Rhyho stage, then we start just like cascading material underneath it.
Yes. Oh, I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and stop this real quickly. Tom the Blunt. Tom the Blunt. He always looks tired. No one knows why. Let me catch up in chat really quickly. So imagine Digimon TCG. Oh my god. I'm telling you, folks. I'm telling you. Once I get big enough on this platform where I can sustain it, I'm taking that extra money. I'm just making other channels. Next, it's GoldenNova Digimon. After that, GoldenNova talks about the video games that he likes. Will he be good at it? I don't know. I'm just gonna say things. Maybe it'll sound like a video essay. Maybe it'll sound like the ramblings of an out of touch Goofus. Maybe it'll be 4 Legend of the Dragoon videos in a row, and then I'll leave for a month. Who knows? Anyway, how's it going? Okay, cool. Alrighty. So that's a pretty succinct line. Let's check the culmination of it. Purgatory Dragon Deity Favniel. A level 9 Dark Dragon Ride monster with 3000 attack and 0 defense. You can only have 1 copy of this card in your deck. You can special summon this card from your hand or deck at the start of your standby phase by stacking it on top of a level 8 or lower Dark Ride monster you control with 2 or more cards stacked underneath it. Once per turn at the start of your main phase 1, you can make your opponent send a card they control to the graveyard. Then this card gains attack equal to the sent monster's attack on the field until the end of the turn. You can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn. If any number of monsters your opponent controls leave the field during your turn, you can draw a card, then stack a card from your hand underneath this card, and after damage calculation, if this card battled an opponent's monster, and the total levels of all dark monsters stacked underneath this card are 13 or more, you can activate this effect. This turn, it can make a second attack in a row. Thank you, chat. Okay, that's really cool. So it's not checking the number of cards in the soul, but how big they are. So you're really incentivized to play as many big dark monsters as you can.
Yes. Yep. Play as many as you can. Find some way to make them work, and then get them shoved underneath the card.
And then punch several times for victory.
Yes.
Now, my one PSCT question here is the main phase 1 effect. It sends any card to the graveyard, but then it mentions monster's attack at the second half of that. Is this still supposed to send any card, or is it only supposed to send monsters?
It is supposed to say monsters. I think I forgot to change that from an earlier version of it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure, to get the full scope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then the last monster we have on this list, though we can't talk about more once we're finished up here, is Execution Dragon Vorpal Scythe Dragon. Level 7 Dark Dragon effect monster, 2600 attack, 1800 defense. You can special summon this card from your hand by discarding any card, and once per turn, as a quick effect, you can banish a dark monster from your grave to destroy a monster on the field. If an opponent's monster is destroyed by your dark monster by battle or card effect, you can stack the top 2 cards of your deck underneath a dark ride monster you control. Ooh, okay. So that combos with our Favniel's other effect. That's like whenever opponent's monster goes to the graveyard, you get a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm reading this card, and do you know that meme where it's like images to show a Victorian child to like send them into the Shadow Realm or something?
Yeah, I think I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's this, but like show a Teledad player this card to send them into the Shadow Realm. Like this reads like the 3rd evolution of Dark Armed Dragon. Like it's a quick effect, it's easier to summon. You show this to someone playing this game in 2006, and they're gonna be hit by the Crush Card virus.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But no, solid card. I like it. It's quick effect removal, big monster. I dig. And it is super generic. Any dark deck is like, oh, excuse me. Yoink. And level 7, folks, rank 7 pool. Level 10 synchros.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, that is the core 5 that we wanted to look at. Is there any other ones that you think make for a good showcase while we're here?
Let's see. Let me double check something here. There we are. What I do notice I mean is a tiny oopsie, but whatever.
All right, while we're looking for a new card to highlight, interesting title was not here for the description of how our ride monsters work, so I'll just run them through it really quickly while you're trying to figure out, or while you're looking for the next one. The idea is that it translates Vanguard's ride mechanic into Yu-Gi-Oh! It's kind of similar to Xyz monsters, but it's specifically the Chaos Xyz Evolution variant, where you take a single monster and you stack more on top of them, but they don't live in the extra deck. They are main deck monsters. And there's a big focus on getting more material underneath it, because that enhances their effects.
All right, so I guess we'll take a look here at oh, which of these two? We'll take a look at Elagos here.
Elagos?
Yeah,
Alrighty,
he's a more dedicated Neo support.
got it. Alright, Demonic Swordsman of Riving. Elagos is a level 6 Dark Fiend monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. Monarch stats. If you control a level 7 or 8 Dark monster, you can stack one other Dark monster from your hand underneath a Dark Ride monster that you control to special summon this card from your hand. If this card declares an attack while you control Purgatory Dragon Deity Favnil, you can banish one other monster from your hand or graveyard, destroy one monster your opponent controls. Then, if the total levels of the dark monsters stacked underneath Purgatory Dragon Deity Favnil is 13 or more, you can gain life points equal to the highest attack among the monsters on the field. Ooh. Okay, so you can't summon this specifically if Favnil's on the board, because if I remember correctly, that's a 9.
Yeah, yeah. So, this is a slight oopsie. I forgot to change this as well because I did change Fabneo's level at one point. But
Oh.
yeah, we'll just uh yeah, we'll just move on from that one.
But if we have one of our 7 or 8 support cards, like our Execution Dragon, then you can summon this, so that works out in that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it stacks to summon itself. It attacks. You pop something by banishing a thing, and then you gain life points. Not bad. Not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's all right guy.
Okay. Oh, we actually don't have very many left. I'm just going to go power through these other two really quickly so we can get all those taken care of. All right. Steam Battler Gungrum is a level 4 Dark Machine effect monster with 1900 attack and defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can stack a dark monster in your graveyard or from your banishment underneath a dark ride monster that you control. You can send one card stacked underneath a ride monster you control to the graveyard to draw a card. It's the draw engine!
Yeah.
Oh, and that part works for any ride deck. Nice.
Yes, he's a very simple man.
Sick. Alright, and the last one is Purgatory Baron Hrodis, a level 6 Dark Fiend effect monster. Everyone in chat, you know the line here. If you control a level 7 or 8 Dark monster, you can stack one other Dark monster from your hand underneath a Dark Ride monster you control to special summon this card from your hand. After damage calculation, if this card attacked a monster while you control Purgatory Dragon Deity Favnil, you can stack this card underneath that Favnil to destroy one monster your opponent controls. You can only use this effect once per turn, and once per turn during your standby phase, if this card is stacked underneath Favnil, or underneath a Favnil monster you control, you can banish this card and send one card from your hand to the graveyard to draw a card. And if you do, all monsters you currently control gain 500 attack until the end of the turn. You cannot normal or special summon ride monsters the turn you activate this effect. So, it attacks, it pops. It doesn't require a resource like Elagos does. And then in the future, it'll get rid of itself, draws you a card, and then boosts all of your stuff.
Indeed.
Now, that sounds similar to Persona writing. Is it supposed to emulate that, or is there a different thing that it's working off of?
No, it's basically kind of no, I technically yeah, kind of because okay, so I guess this requires context for Fafnir and how he works in Vanguard. Because you can only have one copy of Fafnir in your deck. even in Vanguard, you can't persona ride him like at all,
Oh,
right?
true, true.
This is kind of a way to get around that.
Okay, all right. So they have an effect in that deck that emulates it, but it's not actually it.
Yeah, there's a thing there to like to like let you activate the effect of persona ride, but yeah, otherwise yeah, you're not like rewriting ever.
Okay, I dig, I dig. Alrighty, well, that is a pretty cool series of cards. Is there anything else we want to talk about really quickly before we move on to the Nova scale?
Let's see. He Dark Monsters Go Boo.
Ah, man, I love it
Uh,
when he Dark Monsters go brr.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what to say. It's just you can run this in like dark good stuff. You can run this in well we can just stop there.
Alrighty, well then, let's go ahead and show these little bastards off then. Let's go over to the novelty section. So, Ride Mechanic, still by itself, doesn't exist in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a pretty cool way to show monsters growing in strength using specifically your main deck instead of using the extra deck as the catch-all toolbox. So I do like the mechanic here. A lot of dark synergies here. Insofar as our other like our general effects for stuff, we have removal, we have card draw. It's a lot of stuff that Dark is doing as it is. Though I do like the thing where Favniel checks the levels of its soul. Um I'm I'm gonna push it a little more for that. I do think that's a very inventive take. I'm gonna give it a 4 in novelty. I think that's pretty nifty. Alright, objectivity. So there's a lot of dark decks that would just randomly run stuff like this. I feel like, especially when you have access to things like Demonic Swordsman of Riving, maybe Hrondus, especially Execution Dragon. This stuff is cracked. Um I still just think that it's cool utility cards. I don't know if any of these are like busted. Favniel requires some setup to make work. It's not like it hits board and takes over the game. Execution Dragon is a piece of monster removal, which is, as a quick effect, pretty good. Like, that singular effect carries the new Flame Swordsman cards all on its own. So it's not to be underestimated, and as a level 7, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with that. So I'm pretty sure we would see this all over the place. The rest of the cards, I think, would see some fun splash every once in a while in dark decks. I think this is another 4 in objectivity. I think all of our problem-solving card text is good. I'm just worried about Vorpal Scythe Dragon being like a chase ultra rare in a set and it spikes to like 90 because everyone wants a copy.
Yeah.
But because of that, the versatility is very high because, as it turns out, Dark is the best attribute in the game. You can fight me on that, but you will lose. There is a reason why Orchist has a attribute lock and is still one of the most splashed cards in the game. It's wild. I feel so confident that this would get all kinds of splash. Like, I'm giving it a 4 as well. It hardly works against there's a lot of locks this doesn't interact with because it's not an extra deck monster. None of these are. They provide great utility. And even if you just splash dark monsters, this could be summoned by discarding anything, is still a level 7 dark dragon. If you have darks, you get free removal on top of it. Like, it's outrageous. And awesomeness. Look, they're dark creatures. They're shadowy. It's got big dragons. I haven't seen any of the cards, and I hope that they don't let me down when I see them, but I'm imagining a really cool, not gothic aesthetic, but like this kind of, oh god, if anyone's seen the artist Henry Magenta, just that kind of like stark colors, really big contrast, like bold edges and like armor plating. I love that. In this is very evocative.
I will say Favreau looks very raw.
Yeah. So I'm giving the Dark Ride cards, the Favneil set, a 17 on the Nova scale. These cards are fantastic.
Yeah. All right then. You take those.
Hell yeah. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for stopping by. Super appreciate it. Have yourself a
Yeah.
wonderful day, alright? Take care.
Yeah, and I'll be back next month with the answer to a question I'm going to present to the chat right now.
Oh?
One rock, two rock, or excuse me, one rock, three rock, or five rock. Okay, good.
Oh my god, that rocks. Alrighty. Thank you once again, Rebel King Lucifer. Let's go ahead and B1 rocks. Let's go and move on to our next document, the Kingdom Utopia, hopeful future at the edge of the universe. Interesting. Mm. Mm. Delicious, yummy juice for my system. I need to have my juice. Okay, I think I've got this pulled up. Millennium, whenever you're ready, I am ready to discuss your cards with you. Having looked at the Persona Ride mechanic, I now see where Soulburner copied his homework from. True! That's the tweet. Soulburner was actually a Vanguard kid. Hello! Uh-oh.
Hello, hello.
Hey, there we go. How's it going?
I'm fine, thanks. And yeah, I'm sorry that like I that I cannot change days because if we go to Saturday, it's sorry, if we go to Sunday, it will be Monday on my part. So
Yeah, that's not gonna work out. Oh, and just so you know, none of that was meant to ask people to move from Saturday to Sunday. Just if anyone hadn't like submitted any, I wanted to make sure that there was like plenty of time.
all right, fair enough. And like also, I mean, I do see the Sunday schedule, and it's only like one person, and yeah.
Sunday's gonna be very short.
It will be. I'm good luck to who's it?
Well, it's
Good luck to
yeah, Clockswork. They're getting all of my attention.
Clockswork.
I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
anime like close up to the face look, like just right at him. All right, that was uncomfortable for everyone in chat. Let's get started with Kingdom Utopia. I am seeing some lore here.
Yes. So this is one of my card series that is related to the fic that I'm making. I even have the pilot, the some quote unquote like short biography. It's the pilot for this Utopia deck is Mayu Alia. She is, long story short, she is a duelist that was quote unquote recruited slash given scholarship to enroll in the Termina Duel Academy. And her backstory was that she was recruited because the academy found out about her had made contact with like a dual spirit outside of the dueling situation slash related to energy, the thing that happens in dual tech duel. Yeah, I'm using that concept for this how dual spirits can exist in our world and such.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
um Yeah, because I honestly, it's very cool. And yeah, but the thing is that she does not remember. She does not remember what actually happened, except one time when she was very young. She was at the observatory that her mother worked at, where a supernova happening during their like observation, and she saw a figure of like a humanoid figure in that supernova, in that blazar, um appear and reaches out to her, but like it seems more like a dream, and she does not remember most of it. Alas, fate somewhat like relate her back to that, because now her dual spirits is Utopica, which is related to the Utopia cards, and she
Okay.
herself being an exist summon specialization duelist. So it is just very funny. Fate works weirdly that
Don't it though? In mysterious ways.
it is. And speaking of fate, if we'll talk about it later, but there is some things that is like the lore of the cards itself is we're going to talk about it later on down the line. But long story short, about the lore of the cards, it's somewhat inspired by the um by the story of Avalon, the island of Avalon, where King Arthur buried, which also have the story that during Britain's time of great crisis, he will come back from Avalon, yada yada yada. There's also stories that the other round table nights are there, stuff like that. So the idea is Hope Avalon is where Utopia, the king of hopes, are resting. And when a universe is in danger, or like when a world is in is in dire need of help, they and like their soldiers will come marching out from this world that is between the edge of reality, between edge of time and space itself.
That's so cool. That's
Yes,
so cool.
that's yeah. And like for people who are familiar to Fate Grand Order, that is very much how Avalon in there works as well. Though Avalon is more like just a garden where Merlin lives.
Alrighty, well, I can't wait
In
to
Fate
dig into
Grand Order, yeah.
these.
Yes. The cards also have lores, but like if we don't have time, we can skip them. Don't worry about it.
Okay, let's get started. I've got the clock going. Let's go ahead and start with Utopica, a Link 2 Light Fairy monster with 500 attack with the two diagonal downward pointing arrows, requiring any two monsters including a level 4 and or rank 4 monster. This card is also treated as a rank 4 Xyz monster on the field and in the graveyard. You can only summon one Utopica once per turn. If this card is link summoned in the extra monster zone, place two level 4 Astral, ZS, Zubaba, Gagaga, Gogogo, or Dododo monsters from your deck or graveyard, two main monster zones that this card points to. A monster Xyz summoned using this card as material gains the following effect. If this card is Xyz summoned, add a future drive from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Your opponent cannot respond to this effect's activation. Mmm.
Yes. So Future Drive is a very weird card that only interact with Utopic Future. This series of cards will look into play around with the Utopic Future. The boss monster is a Utopic Future, and most of the cards are like exist or as Utopica, a card that treated as an exist that when used as a material for exist summoning give an added effect.
Okay,
So this
okay.
is a hint into that.
So we
I'll
would make Utopica, summon our two monsters, our two level fours.
not summon, not summon, place.
Oh, place them. Place them on the board,
Yes.
and then you
So,
overlay those two to make a rank 4, and then you would take that rank 4 and the Utopica because it counts as a rank 4, and then make Utopic Future out of those.
yep, that is
Hell
one way to
yeah!
do it.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
only one
And
path.
later on, we have more Axis cards that go into it a lot more. Also, yeah, the effect to place cards. I was making it thinking that is there a way for us to, as a Utopia deck, to avoid Nibiru. So I was thinking like, okay, I summon two, and then Utopica plays two, uh, or like one of the cards that I have currently can give the Utopic Future card a monster negate, so we can go into that.
Okay, all right.
It's a way to like cheat that.
Yeah. And I mean, we place spells and traps on the field all the time, so like nothing saying you can't do it with monsters.
Pretty much, yes.
Alrighty, next we have ZS Merlin, Sage of Utopia, a rank 4 dark spellcaster monster with 1500 attack and 2500 defense, requiring just one level 4 Astral ZS or any of the Automat monsters as material. You can
Yep.
also summon a Merlin Sage once per. You can only summon it once per turn this way. Really quickly,
No, you can
Ada,
like
thank you so much for rating in. How are you doing? How was your stream? Hello, the customs. We are looking at probably the coolest frickin' Utopia updates I've ever seen in my life. All right, timer's back on. Okay, so what were you saying?
yeah. So you can only summon once per turn. So this is to bait. I understand the requirement is very easy to get, and as I mentioned before, the idea is to use Merlin to go with Utopica to deny your opponent's Nibiru. So that's that. So I'm trying to make like the added effect of once per turn when your opponent activate monster. It's a monster negation. It gives your Utopic feature a monster negation. I do not want that to just a repeat thing because I worded it as a monster exit summon using this card gains the following effect. It's a circular effect. Sorry, diameters effect. So even if Merlin detached, the cards still have the effect. So I'm trying to avoid, like a loop where you can somehow give multiple utopic future cards this effect.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned circular. The way this is worded, this will get to keep it on future turns. Was that how it was supposed to work?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Then
It is.
yeah. And that's good. Having a monster negate is something Utopia has. It has it like the very end, but it's good that we get it a bit earlier in the timeline to avoid things like that Nibiru stuff.
Yes, exactly. This is like one of my first ever card that I think about is this kind of thing. Have a card that give you a monster negate. That's why Merlin is also a ZS, a Zexal servant, because ZS cards are usually the ones that give the added effect.
And then on top of all of that, we also just get a free card on top of it.
Yeah, you set stuff. I worded it to somewhat overlap with Astral, but not really, because we have rank up, we have hope, which is a like a card text that exists on some Utopia related card, but also some funny stuff uh like the road to hope, hope to escape, hope to escape.
Oh God.
Yeah, the draw one, the pay 1,000 draw one type of shit.
Draw
It's
engine.
very
Draw engine.
draw engine, yeah. I was going to just say one of them is the end of the line, the card that like Yuma used one time where he was like at 10 LP and he draw like 3 cards out of it. But like I'm thinking like that's too much because we have a way to like lower our LP to 1 later down the line.
Alrighty, next up we've got ZS Morgan, Seer of Utopia, a rank 4 light spellcaster with 2500 attack, 1500 defense. Also requires just one level 4 Astral ZS or Onomot monster as material. You can only summon ZS Morgan, Fae of Utopia once per turn. If this card is special summoned, set a kingdom at the edge of the universe's Hope Avalon from your deck or graveyard to the field. A monster exceeds summoned using this card as material gains the following effect. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, you can pay half their life points to negate the effect, and if you do, shuffle it into the deck.
You gotta love it's Veiling. It's again Veiling.
It's just
And
Valence.
yes, and the only way you can get into the new field spell because I worded this card to be its own thing and not treated as any other card in the like you can grab with like Astral or Merlin himself. So you need to summon Morgan if you want to utilize the field spell that is as intended.
Okay. Let's go ahead and check out. We've got Kingdom later on down the line, but the next one we're
Yep.
looking at is Rank Up Magic. Oh, do we want to just look at this one since it's the next on the list? Or do we want to skip to Rank Up Magic?
Rank up magic is fine. Rank up magic is fine.
Okay. Okay. We have Rank Up Magic Utopic Coronation, a quick play spell card. Once per duel, you can also activate this card from your hand or deck during your
Or
opponent's battle phase if you have 100 or lower life points.
Yes.
This card cannot be responded to or negated if activated in this way. However, the monster summoned by this card cannot attack directly. Place 5 Utopia, Utopic, or number exceeds monsters with different names from your graveyard or banishment to your field. And if you do, exceed summon one number 39, number P39, or number F39 monster from your extra deck using the summoned monsters as material, then attach this card as material. You can only use one Rank Up Magic Utopic Coronation per turn. Oh!
Yes, this is one of the quote unquote anime or more like fanfic card that is the counter attack card. I worded it this way to place exactly 5, not to up to 5. So most of the time you can only activate this when you are out, when you have nothing on your board. So you place 5 Utopia Utopic number exist monster. They are the guest to the coronation of the utopic future king that will arrive that you summoned with this card.
Yeah, this card is so hype.
And yeah, and like yeah, as I said, as the card said, you can activate this from deck if you have 100 or lower LP, because that's the cool number where like you are like at 10 LP left and you are nearly dying and like oh like you have nothing left on your field, you are going to lose. What are you going to do? And like in the fic, I wrote this as like a destiny draw, but like I just think in actual game, yeah, no, chief, this shit you cannot fucking do that.
No!
So
Look,
just like
no!
activate it from there.
No, trust me. If I get down to this and my opponent's like go for game, I'm literally gonna sit there and go all like, you fool. Don't you know the legend? Don't you know the king that will show up in times of greatest hardship? And there's no greater danger than this. Right from my deck, I activate Rank Up Magic Utopic Coronation! And then everyone in the dueling hall looks at our duel and lights start shooting out everywhere and it's gonna look fucking epic.
And then the Utopia, the neutral form of like F39 come from the sky and like opens up and like and opens up to show like the warrior of future. Pretty good.
Ah, so good. Alrighty.
The card
Next.
story, I wrote so much for the card story as well. Well, never mind. All right, continue.
Alright. Kingdom at the Edge of the Universe's Hope Avalon is a field spell card. When this card is activated, your life points become 4,000, and for the rest of the duel, it cannot increase over 4,000. While you control at least one Utopia Xyz monster, Astral, the Onomats, ZW, ZS, Utopic, Utopia, and number cards you control cannot be attributed by your opponent. During your main phase, you can pay 3,999 life points. This card gains the following effect. The first time each Astral, Onomat, ZW, ZS, Utopic, Utopia, and number monsters you control would be affected by an opponent's card effect, it is unaffected.
Yes.
Why 3,999? Because your life points become 4k when you play it, and then this puts you down to 1 life points for maximum anime.
That, and as I said, you might keep going into like lower than 10 LP. I'm just making that easier for you to emulate.
Yeah, it's just flavorful.
It is.
Yeah.
And okay, the funny thing is one of the thing that like makes this, it seems broken, but if you can somehow, remove this thing from your field, you can DRNM your the whole field and then just sparks for win, because you are at 1 life point, and like any burn damage do it.
Yeah, so just make sure that your opponent's not running any kind of burn strat before committing to this.
And like I also worded it this way because this pay life point effect cannot be activated if your opponent have like masquerade, have any way, so like any card that makes you pay before you activate a card effect, because you pay 3,099, but if you pay something else, then you are lower than able to pay, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot activate. So yeah, that's why I hide the more powerful effect of like just protection behind this like ridiculous payment.
It is a big drawback, but golly, is it cool.
It is very fun.
Alrighty. Last up, we have number 39, Utopic Future King of Wishes Hope, a rank 4 light warrior effect monster with 2,500 attack and 1,500 defense, requiring 3 or more Utopic, Utopia, or number Xyz monsters with different names. This card is always treated as a Utopia card. If this card is Xyz summoned, you can equip ZW monsters from your hand, deck, or graveyard to this card up to the number of materials that this card has. When a monster declares an attack, you can detach a material from this card to negate the attack. Also, this card gains 500 attack and an additional attack during each battle phase. You can only control one copy of this card. So, this is our big finisher when we use Coronation, I assume. Attach 5 weapons to it. It's gonna be humongous at this point. And then if our opponent tries to retaliate with just with their monster attacks at a future time, you're like, nah, I don't think so. Cease.
Yeah. And also remember the coolest card in Utopia deck that you can have, Double or Not. This card negates its own attack and then can attack again. And then I wrote the effect as that it's not once per turn when you can negate an attack. You negate an attack, it gain 500 and 1 additional attack.
You're right.
You activate Double or Nothing. you get to see 500 times 6 double that.
Oh,
and then I have
God.
And then I have a anime card retrain below this, the double tension, which I retrain as double extension, that can also activate from the deck if you have lower life point. That doubles it again. So that's 500 doubles, and then doubled again. That's 20K.
That's
And then and that's before adding up the ZW adding attack. Like the Eagle Claw give Utopia 2,000. Pegasus give 1,000. The
stop. They're
Tiger
already
1,800.
dead.
Yes. This okay. You listen. Yuma can deal 100,750 attack to Don 100, right? To Don 100
Yeah.
against the fucking door. Motherfucker kick a door down. He has Utopia kick a door down with 100,000 attack.
Boosh.
So we should be able to do the same with some effort at least.
Alrighty, well that's outrageous. Those are cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and start the Nova scale. I want to talk about this
Yes,
right now.
you should. Yes, you should.
Okay, so Utopia stuff. We're already working with Utopia itself. What are we adding to the playstyle? Well, I think making links an important part of the strategy is actually pretty. Oh, I am realizing how this interacts with Utopica now.
Yeah.
Because we make Utopica, we get our two monsters. Each one of them becomes a Zexal sage or servant. Zexal servant. Yeah.
Yep.
Get those effects, and then those come together to make the rank 4, and then those make the. Oh my god, that's so
Yes.
so powerful. Uh,
When I wrote them in the fic, they are separate. They're not coming in together. But the moment they are in, they are in.
there they go. There they are. Okay, so novelty.
And oh, sorry, yeah.
I think that we've gotten the negates earlier on. We have some of those, so it's not entirely new, but I like the angle that it's going for. We have the Link introduction here, which wasn't part of Utopia beforehand. I think we got a 3 in novelty. Maybe there isn't like a lot of new stuff, but some of the things here are such ridiculous extrapolations of what came before that I've gotta respect the hype. So 3 in novelty on that one.
That is very fair. I mean, I am just emulating whatever the fuck happening in Zexal, so which is a very cool anime. Y'all should watch. Y'all should watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. It's very fucking cool.
Folks, you heard it here first. First. Watch Zexal. Alright. Objectivity. Our problem-solving card text, I think, is good. I know that F39, Utopic Future King of Wishes Hope, does not say that they have to have the same rank, but Xyz monsters break the rules all the time, so we're just going to go along with the text that's written here.
Yeah. That's intentional as well. I do intend that you can literally use any rank because, I mean, it's a coronation, It's a coronation. Everyone is invited. If you are, mannequin cat, you can come in. If you are, oh, I don't know, Titanic dragon, you can come in.
Come
Like,
on!
you are like a rank 2 and rank 8. It's fine. Come in.
It's fine. All are welcome.
Be the fuel of this future king. It is. I understand that it is not like balanced, but like.
Well, okay, so speaking of that, so I also see that Utopica and both of our Zexal Sages break the rules insofar as this is a Link monster that can count as Xyz material, but Orcust already beat us to the punch on that one. And the Zexal Servants both use singular material, which is wildly powerful, but that's basically just Chaos Xyz evolution before you get to an Xyz monster, so I think it's valid. The question is, how powerful really are all these cards? The field spell helping to keep a lot of interaction off of them is very important. Utopic Coronation is only really powerful once you get into that dire situation.
Yep.
And number 39, Utopic Future King of Wishes, the coronation effect keeps you from responding to the Utopic Future King's effect, if I remember correctly.
What do you mean? Sorry.
I was wondering if Utopic Coronation, or I was trying to remember if Utopic Coronation made it so they couldn't respond to Utopic Future Kings
Oh.
on summon effects, but I'm not reading that, so maybe
No, I do not wrote it as it's
okay,
your
then I'm
opponent
making
that
that.
cannot respond.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, it's your opponent cannot respond, and only if it's activated in like the the from deck or from hand with the less than 100 life point.
Yeah, okay.
So if yes, so if you activate it normally, it's respondable.
So yeah, so these cards are only really good when you are at the last sliver of life, when any small thing going wrong will lose you the game.
Yes.
So I think for the risk, I think you're allowed to have that kind of power. So I maybe some people in the comments or the chat will disagree, but I think it's a 5 in objectivity. I think it's fine. Versatility. This does cover a wide range of archetypes. They all fall under the umbrella of like the Yuma cards. So it might be a stretch to say that it gets a 2 in versatility, but it's my scale, and that's a lot of archetypes. So I'm saying it gets a 2 in versatility because it's not going to super play well with a bunch of other themes. Maybe some other rank 4 ones that want to splash in this line, but it feels like you need to commit a lot of resources to make this work, and I don't know of a lot of decks that are going to care to splash this in.
Oh yeah, you basically need like maybe four extra deck slot for this. Utopica, Merlin. No, not even Merlin. You can't really. Oh yeah, yeah. Utopica, Merlin, Morgan, and like one of the Utopic Future, either Draco or like after the. But you also need like bricks in your, bricks in your deck. One Onomat or like one ZS. So I intentionally, trying to make this as and close as possible with the Utopias.
Yeah, and hey, and as I say oftentimes, a low versatility score does not mean that the cards are bad. It just means that it's focused on these, so that's a-okay. And awesomeness, folks. You saw how I was reacting. I was losing my whole body. I was losing my spirit. I couldn't stand up. Hearing all of these wicked effects going off one after another is ridiculous, and I love big splashy effects that put you at the edge of losing just to claim victory at the last second. These are getting a 5 in awesomeness. Holy hell.
Base.
15 on the Nova scale
Nice.
on all these bad boys. Excellent work here.
Nice, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely very fine. I honestly expecting lower in objectivity because the Merlin and Morgan basically cheats themselves out. So yeah,
They do, but as someone noticed previously in chat, Zodiac's already beat them to the punch on this anyway.
oh shit, yeah, you're right.
So this is already something that has been justified by Konami.
All right, fine.
So you're good.
Well, all right, yeah, I'm very fine. And also like they are not generic at all. Like you need exactly astral Yuma card
Yeah. Yeah, you can't cheat that. You need to be on theme to use these. So I think they're just fine.
based. Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you again for showing these off. I super appreciate it. I'm very hype. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see what your next concoctions will be.
Well, my next concoction is Here's this thing, there's this thing in like pop culture. It's called Power Rangers. If you know.
I'm I'm aware. I'm a little familiar.
Yes, there's this series called Power Rangers, and in Yu-Gi-Oh they combine Power Rangers with dinosaurs
No way.
and cop killing. Can I say that on stream?
I don't even think I heard it, honestly. I just liked your
Gotcha. All
energy.
right. All right. So yeah, next I will brew Dino Rufia, aka Dinomorphia, for my next customs.
Sick, sick.
So 1213. And yeah, thank you again for having me here, Nova. I there's still like the card story, and I have a dueling book like replay, but like that's for later. Whatever.
Hey, yeah, that's the drawback of the 15-minute limit. We can't see everything.
Indeed,
But
indeed.
but yeah. Thank you so much and have yourself an excellent day, all right?
All right, you too. Have fun.
Thank you.
Good luck with the streams.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alrighty. Excellent. Alrighty, we've got 2 people left. One of them is Ramen. I haven't seen them in chat yet. I'm going to go ahead and ping them really quickly. And we can cover Rex Raptor while we're waiting, just in case if they're not available as of yet. But I want to make sure that they get the proper time to cover their cards. Oh, my voice was audible. I have the stream muted to avoid feedback. I didn't hear any complaints from chat. So I think we're good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give Ramen a bit of time to follow up. And in the meantime, I'm going to open up Rex Raptors, and we're going to cover theirs really quickly. They've told me that it's just 2 cards. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those whilst we wait for them to arrive. We set the clock, Discord, open up Discord. Oop. Let's go ahead. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. Alrighty. Do we need to zoom this in at all? Is this too small? It looks pretty small. Let me go ahead and see what I can do to enhance the image. Okay, it's not much, but it'll do. Oh, gotta get the Nova scale reset and out of the way. It's covering up the cards. There we go. We'll fix that in a second. Anyway, so Rex Raptor has 2 cards here, but also a little poem. Once a year we throw a party here in town. Once a year we turn Paris upside down. Every man's a king and every king's a clown. Once again, oh, I forget the rhythm for this. Once again, it's topsy-turvy day. So here's some real doozy of cards. Folks, Hunchback of Notre Dame is classic. You should go watch it. All right. Unimpeded Advance field spell card. If you would normal or special summon a monster to your field, you can place it in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell or continuous trap instead. Spell and trap cards you control that are not monster cards are negated, except for this card. Monster cards in your spell and trap zone can be used as material for fusion, synchro, exceeds, link, and tribute summons, and gain the following effects. During the battle phase, monsters you control in the same column as this card gain attack and defense equal to the original attack and defense of this card. Huh? Huh? Vanguard. I mean it is activating the rear circle, I suppose. Okay, hold on. So we can put them in the back row. Any of our spells and traps back there don't work because they're negated. We can use them as material for summons. And the monsters we make gain this effect. During the battle phase, monster you control in the same column as this card gain attack defense equal to the original attack of this card. So we make them. We make these new monsters. And then so if it has like 2500 attack, it will itself gain 2500 attack, but so will everything in its column. It doesn't differentiate between your cards in your columns, your cards that you control in that column or not. So if it's fighting an opponent's monster, it's also going to gain that much attack. So you're not incentivized to summon in the same column as an opponent's monster, but they're incentivized to summon in that column so that they can get the benefits. No, never mind. It does say monsters you control. I'm a dunce. It's literally right there. Okay, so it is just for us. So we want to summon them to EMZ zones so our EMZ monsters we can get double monster effects off of this one to gain that. Do they keep the monster card attribute? That is a great question because there are like one sec, I have to look up the card. It's like Predaplant Triantis. Predaplant Triantis and Bufolicula. While this card is in a Pendulum Zone, if you fusion summon a Dark Fusion monster, you can also use cards in your Pendulum Zone as material. Pendulum Zones as monsters on the field as material for its fusion summon. And then Predaplant Bufolicula. If this card is sent to the grave, during your main phase, you can fusion summon a Dark Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. So I would have to assume that things that let you use cards that are not monsters as material for summons let you check their conditions for things. Right? Because we already have that kind of stuff. Melania, please. Please, I gotta focus here. You can't be saying stuff like that. So, if we fusion summon, they keep the name and all of their relevant attributes. If you synchro summon with them, they still maybe count as a tuner? I don't know if we have a spell card that lets you perform a synchro summon using cards in your zones as material. If you exceed summon, it takes their levels, link summoning, tribute summoning. Okay, that's very goofy, but I love it. Monsters put into spell and trap zones. There's some monsters. Well, technically, they are either continuous spells or continuous traps, whichever one you pick, but they are also monster cards. Capital C cards. That is a value they are always a monster card no matter what. That is a value that cannot change, but they are also on top of that treated as either continuous spells or traps. So they can be treated as both, which is an amazing thing. It comes up a lot when you talk about pendulums. So that's that's right. This one's a head scratcher, but I think I get it, and that's pretty cool. You know, you shut off your spells and traps. You can't use those. Instead, you're still summoning your monsters. It's an instead, so you're not getting any on-summon effects. They're just being put in your spell and trap zone instead. And then you use them as material. Now, this is you can, so it's not mandatory that you place the new monsters you make in the back row. And I think you don't want to, because I don't know if they'll have these following effects. Maybe if you put it in the spell and trap zone underneath an EMZ, the two monsters below it will get it. I'm not entirely sure how that all works together. Valance would like to know your location. Yup. Pend and Plunder, which are a Venn diagram because Earth Machine. Earth Machine! Okay, that was goofy. Let's do Dichotomy of Decks. Normal spell card at the start of your main phase 1. Both players swap their hands, decks, and extra deck with their opponent. Then your opponent can draw a card. This effect cannot be negated by a card that you own. The following effects cannot be negated by a card you control. You can only use each of the following effects of Dichotomy of Decks once per duel. During the end phase, you activated this card. Add this card in your graveyard to your opponent's hand. During the end phase, your opponent activated this card. Return control of all monsters on the field to their owner's hand. I assume it's hand. Oh no, return control of monsters. Oh, it's control. My bad, not just cards in general. Return control of all monsters on the field to their owners. Huh. Okay, we gotta restart this. Okay. So you play this at start of main phase 1. Both players swap their cards. Not their graveyards, not their banishments, not their fields, but hand, deck, and extra deck. Then your opponent can draw a card. So they get to draw a new card from your deck to get you started, to get them started. The first additional effect, during the end phase, you activated this card. Add this card in your graveyard to your opponent's hand so that they can play it, and then they can swap things back if they want, but then, of course, you get a draw from that. And then during the end phase, your opponent activated this card. Return control of all monsters on the field to their owner. So if they activate it, then so you activate it, they swap, and now you have flipped decks. But then your opponent gets Dichotomy of Decks. So if they don't like it, they can return control of all of those things back to whoever owned them, and then during the end phase, all of that stuff returns. And then from that point, you could play another copy of Dichotomy of Decks, and because these can only be used once per duel, the decks can never be swapped back if you activate a second copy of Dichotomy of Decks. Huh? Okay. Alrighty. So, sorry, I had to check some stuff on the thing that's going on here. I forgot that I was on stream for that. My mind's at like 3 different places. So, okay. I don't know what to add to this. It's goofy, it's wild. If you want to play the goofiest game of Yu-Gi-Oh! You've ever played in your whole life, this is how you would do it. I'm gonna go to the Nova scale. I don't know what else to add here. Novelty 5. Uh, like you tell me a card that these are like, and I don't know, man. I don't know what I could possibly do that would up the stakes enough for that. Objectivity. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and dichotomy of decks is just rife with ways to mess up a game state. Swapping cards in zones that don't normally get changed, especially if the players have similar sleeves. This may not be very powerful, but it is going to cause a nightmare in any tournament that this gets played in. Unimpeded advance is actually really cool. I like this. But I gotta give it a 1 in objectivity. There is just so many problems that are gonna happen with this. Versatility. Now, I can imagine there would be some decks that would jump at the chance to play unimpeded advance to get their monsters directly in the spell and trap zone face up. Snake Eye might be one of them because they don't at all use their regular field spell, but this gets them back there so they can summon their cards out with their other effects. Dichotomy of decks. I'm sure there's some goofy ass little combos. Heck, if you're going to a tournament with a little dinky deck that doesn't do anything and you want to play with your opponent's cards, any deck like that's going to run Dichotomy of Decks on the off chance that they get a little bonus. I think there's a 2 in versatility. There's a market for these cards. It's just not very wide. And awesomeness, it's so funny. It's so funny. Thank you, Rex, for these fantabulous cards. I appreciate them. This is a 13 out of 20 on the Nova scale, but it's a 25 in my heart. Can you imagine? Can you imagine walking up to a tournament and rocking Dichotomy of Decks? Based out of 20. Exactly. That is exactly what it is. Oh my gosh. The Jester always brings delay. Abso-friggin-lutely. Okay. Activate Dichotomy and just run away with your cards. No! That's part of the issue, I would think. Okay. So I do not see Ramen in chat, and they haven't responded to the message yet. Cool $1,000 Diabell deck. Golly, that is like the most nerve-wracking thing to put such an expensive deck in someone else's hands. That is outrageous. Okay. We're going to go ahead and cover Ramen's cards here. Because Sunday is so open, if Ramen wants to come back in and redo theirs on Sunday, then we can get that done. So that they're not missing out. But I do want to have the chance to talk about them. Oh, maybe we'll talk about them tomorrow. It is getting pretty up close there, and we might as well talk about them tomorrow if we have additional time and they can't make it today. So you know what? I'm going to make the executive decision. We're going to go ahead and call the stream here in a bit. We're going to wait until 11:30 because I think that Hasher is starting his stream at that point, and I want to raid in there. So we're going to raid in directly into there, but I'm going to go double check Twitch really quickly. Badoop. Badoop. Okay, yeah, Hasher hasn't started yet. So we're just gonna... This is our Edison waiting room, as it were. We should probably wait until... Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I ain't stopping stream just now for nothing. We're gonna take all... I'm gonna kidnap all of you and place you in the Hasher stream. No, I've officially paid off my phone. Huzzah! Excellent. Always good when a little piece of tech no longer has the debt aura around it. Have you considered at some point having a custom card tournament? So I have considered it. My issue is uniformity, right? Because like one of the things about objectivity is the problem solving card text, and not everyone gets it correct. So what we would have to do is grab every custom card that was made. We would have to make sure that all of its problem solving card text is up to date with the way that the person making them intends it to work, first off. So that's a big thing to start with. And then we would have to go through and see if there are cards that we just have to get rid of. Like, obviously there are fun cards to show off in concept for customs, but then there are cards that are just not fair to have in an actual play environment. So there's just like a lot. Now, as always, I never want to say no to a concept, and the idea of a custom card tournament does seem rad as hell. But it would require a lot of overhead. I would need a lot of help running it. And of course, the participants would have to also be okay with a lot of working on stuff together. And essentially us having the final say on what can and can't be used. Attorney, we maybe can do a peer-to-peer gent ruling type of deal. See, like, but that's an issue, right? Because let's say that we have one duel between two participants and they have a gentleman's ruling that they agree with and they think is fair and balanced. But then they go up against a different opponent and they think differently. Who do we go with in that regard? Do we stand with precedent for consistency, or do we stand with what might be like a more correct one, even if it's like not the same as previously? It would be a very inconsistent rule set, and I can tell you, as someone who has run like official events, one of the things that gets under people's skin more than anything else is a lack of consistency. People will feel cheated. They will feel like they like got the short end of the stick for reasons beyond themselves, and honestly, it's totally valid. That's one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to making custom card tournaments. There has to be a central authority that dictates how everything works. That is arguably the function of Konami. It's functionally the role of the judges and the rules committee. There's not a rules committee, I don't know, but like there's a group of people who decide how the game works, and all of us, whether we consciously or subconsciously agree to it, we have subjected ourselves to their judgment on this. Could make it so that the participants need to have a 3 to 4 or higher on the objectivity scale. That could be it. That could be it. It's a judge committee. Yeah, okay, we have that. That's fair. Yeah, card's not working as written. Yeah, that would be huge. Like, imagine like reading someone's card and then understanding how it works one way, and then you make a play and then you realize it works a completely opposite way that messes with like how you wanted to run it. It's just wild. Oh, but from the top play against each other once, which means there'll be 3 rounds. Moderator will set up a duel and shoot a provider. Oh, thank God. These are some really good changes. Sorry, sorry. This is just me like reading stream, folks. I'm just keeping up with the stuff. Oh, I got to update Omega. They literally just did an update for it. That's very funny. Let's close out this. Also, happy You're the Dragon. Oh, You're the Dragon? Hell yeah. That's my year, baby. What are the custom card community you could contact with regards like power leveling cards? I'm curious about that too. Like, I think one of our biggest issues I'm overblowing it. Let's not do that. I think something that I have noticed that's a more reasonable thing. What I have noticed is that custom cards in general are like not looked upon favorably by the community. At best, they get used as a way to talk about official cards that are busted, and at worst, they are looked down upon as like, oh man, they wasted their time making this busted card that no one thinks is cool, which is a lame mindset. Now, that either means that there is a custom card community out there who is so driven by it that they have hidden from the light of day and are hidden amongst the shadows, or it just doesn't exist. If they're out there, I'd love to have contact with them because maybe there's an infrastructure that could help with this. Maybe. I also definitely know that if we do that, I would definitely want it to be a themed tournament. Because if we just say, hey, make whatever custom cards you want, people will go off the rails with stuff. I would want to make sure that things are being like, this is like the water tournament. Make some custom cards that work with water decks, stuff like that. How open are we talking Sunday is? We have one person on the schedule, and we have one person from today who hasn't shown up. And their cards might be read out tomorrow. Could just be stuff that's already on the streams beforehand. Yeah, but that's like a huge backlog that we'd have to go through, and not all of it is cataloged because I'm not the best at that. Da-ba-da-ba-da. Da-ba-da-ba-da. Cards that real quick, and I might join in for tomorrow. My artist still isn't done with the next batch of custom cards. Hey, thumbs up. So yeah, lot of things, and honestly, where I'm at right now, it would take a lot of resources to put together, and honestly, I am at this point where I am kind of like at my maximum capacity between like what my personal time is and what the funds I have to put into the channel. I'm kind of like maxed out on the things that I can do. So sadly, I can't commit to being all like doing a tournament at XYZ time. But I would love to. I know there's a lot of things I say I would love to, and I hope that no one thinks that I'm just like saying that and like saying, "Oh yeah, that'd be good," just to like get through the conversation. There are really a lot of things I want to do. I just gotta find the resources to make them happen. But it's fun to talk about when we're done. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm definitely always up for talking about, like, the hypotheticals. Thing in the air to talk about. It's not urgent at all. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ba-da-ba-da. Ba-da-ba-da. What's that live stream on top right? Lol. Oh, I'm looking at Twitch and I'm at the front page and it is the what is it? Some like Jack trilogy speedrun. Here, I forgot that would be up there. Let me see if I can get that. Oh yeah, when I deleted the timer, it grabbed from a different zone. Here you go. Let's put this on for a bit while we're waiting. The DM custom card game pool is like 95% just people testing actual Konami cards and that just aren't in DB yet. Awesome. Riveting stuff. Okay, we're gonna hide that. Oh, I know what I should do. What if I show off what I'm playing for the event? How about that? Come on, come on. Get finagled. Oh, I thought it was Master Duel. I would prefer Master Duel because I think it is like has the best presentation, but there are no other simulators, official or no, that can handle doing relay stuff, so we have to use Omega. Blah 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 blah. Deck manager. Check this list out. Wait, is it not showing up? Wait, what the heck? Why isn't it showing the list? There's this. I'm doing pretty good. I just wish Omega would work with us here because I want to show off the deck I'm playing. Wow, yeah, it's supposed to be highlighting my choices. It's just frozen. No. No. Oh, come on, come on. Oh, that's butts. Capture method. Ba-da-ba-da. Okay, did that work? Okay, I have changed the capture method. There we go. Okay, check this list out. Check this absolute unit out. So, context, I was getting some materials for a really quickly, Random Pup, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Holy cow. I was getting some shipping supplies and I went by my local gaming store and someone was there with an Edison Alien deck, and at that point I'd already signed up for this event and I'm like, this is fate. So I am playing Edison Aliens, baby! Baby! Like I told people, I'm here for a fun time, not a high-powered time. There's no Alien Brain. I don't like Alien Brain. I think Alien Brain sucks. I'm instead using interdimensional warp so I can get more control over it. It's more, despite also being a trap card, it's more active because we can flip it whenever our opponent has an A counter as opposed to when they run my stuff over. And on the off chance that I lose, because I'm going first in our team setup, I can set this, and if my opponent still has an A counter monster, they can flip the interdimensional warp and still use it. With Alien Brain, it might not work the same. Yeah, so for the relay, for those of you who don't know, if you lose if you run out of life points but you still have team members, they inherit your field and graveyard, including all of your cards. Remember, Mysterious Triangle does not target despite it not saying it. It's so funny. Oh, I think this is updated text on it. Although I guess it would be old text anyway. Oh, it's the opposite. Okay. Well, that's fine. I don't know if it's particularly impactful for this format, but, you know, c'est la vie. It looks like it does not, but it does, and it's so annoying. Okay, so it is an issue with pre-problem solving card text. Funny. Funny. Funny card text. Ooh, ooh, haha, hee hee. Ooh, a challenge. A challenge just for me? Is for me? Hasher's live. Hasher's live. I don't see, refresh page. Folks, Hasher's live. Let's go. Folks, all right, everyone lock in. Get ready. We are heading out. Oh, wait, Nova, does Omega have Edison Erratas and stuff? It does. I've made sure that all of my stuff is at Edison Errata, so we're all good. Okay, Hasher, Friendship Cup, begin raid. Folks, lock in, get ready, because for the next 3 hours, things are about to get goofy. They're about to get speedy. They're about to get a third adjective that I haven't thought of right now. Make sure you stick around, because the greatest duel you'll ever see in February's are about to take place in just a second. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that follow button if you haven't already to catch our future streams. And make sure to follow Hasher once we get over there. It is going to be a treat. And Hasher's just a great bean. I love working with him. He's such an awesome dude. I think you're going to have fun with it. Thank you all so much. See you there. Bye!